Well, are you ready to finish up row 4? Let's do it. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and we are continuing with our work on the We Wish You a Merry Christmas quilt. So as you know, we have the first 3 rows completely done and our patchwork rows also. And then yesterday we did 2 more of our apron blocks and we got to sew a few of them together. So we have aprons 1, 2, and 3 complete, and then we also have apron 5 complete. So that means we just have one more. There's just one little opening here. Let's see, was it this way? I think it's, I don't know. Anyway, we have one more apron block to do and then we will have these all done. So on this one, I'm going to stretch a little bit. As you know, the stretch exercises are always completely optional, totally up to you. You can do the block as is. It's super cute as it is, or you can add a little something to it if you choose, and it helps you to learn a little bit, especially if you're using the Embellishment Essential software that I'm using. That helps you to learn how to use that. Lily's giving herself a bath during my video. It never fails. Sorry. All right. So anyway, Embellishment Essentials, if you haven't jumped into that, I highly recommend it. I will show you how to use it completely. I will add a link here for the purchasing of Embellishment Essentials. This is my affiliate link. You just click on that and then click on the Essentials. That is the one that I teach, Embellishment Essentials. So whether you're using software or not, you can try out this stretch exercise. Totally up to you, but especially for those using Embellishment Essentials, it's a great way to try it out. So one other thing is that I think, and I'm not absolutely sure, but there is a free version of Embellishment Essentials to try it out, and I think you can do it with this because we're just going to work on fonts, but I'm not absolutely sure on that, so don't hold me to it, but you could give it a try. So anyway, let's talk about what we need today. We are going to work on apron 4. It's the last block for row 4. It's actually kind of the last block, but we still have those pinwheel blocks, the corner blocks that will go with our outer border. So we're not really done. So grab your packet. If you made packets, we're on apron 4. All right. So apron 4 is on page 14 of our Whisk book. And we are going to start with our main fabric. So I'm going to ask you, can you tell why I chose this apron to be our stretch exercise? Let's see if you figure it out. All right, so our main fabric, this is our main fabric. It is the red with flowers on it. I think it's called tufted, but I'm not absolutely sure. We're going to start with this at 8.5 by 10.5. Nice big piece of fabric, 8.5 by 10.5. Make sure to back your main fabric with fusible stabilizer. It's really important on these big fabrics and really on all of our main fabrics, but especially the big ones, just to make sure you're not getting any puckering. So main fabric, 8.5 by 10.5. This is for apron 4, our last apron block. All right, and then we have our the apron applique fabric, the applique fabric for the apron. So that is this kind of a cream color, light gray color with gray lines all over it. All right, now have you figured out why I think that we should stretch on this one? Not a busy block, right? Not a busy fabric. So if we were to try it on a busier fabric, it's a little bit harder to see the stretch exercise. So this is a really good one. That's why I chose this block. So the other ones, think about, they had red with dots and gingham and lots of busyness to them. But this one is just a light gray with light gray stripes on it. So it'll be easy to do a stretch exercise on this one. All right, so on our apron fabric, this is the applique fabric for the apron. We're going to have this be 4.5 by 6.5 to start out with it. 4.5 by 6.5. You do want to back this with fusible stabilizer. It's going to be up against this red fabric, all right? You don't want that red to bleed through. So I do recommend backing this with fusible stabilizer. And like I often recommend, you could cut it in a little bit so that you can easily tell the front from the back. All right. Sometimes it's hard to tell. That black light that I have in my Amazon storefront will help as well. All right. So 4.5 by 6.5 for your apron fabric, and for your stabilizer, you could do it at 4 by 6. That's what I did, so that it's in a little bit so that you can see the front from the back. Or again, you can use that black light, the black light flashlight. That works really well too. All right, and then we have the pocket. So the pocket fabric is this green stripe fabric. It's an awning stripe. It's actually going to go this way. Nope, this way. Sorry, my mistake. That way. So with the lines going horizontally. All right. So 3 by 2.5 is what we're going to start with this at. But just like on the others that had a pocket, we're going to fold it in half and press it. And then we'll use that as our applique fabric. All right. And I'll show that in photos when we get there. But start with it at 3 by 2.5. All right. 3 by 2.5 with the lines going horizontally if you choose. All right. But this is the old fabric. This is from the original Whisk kit. And I assume it must have been discontinued because our sponsor gave this green swirl fabric as a substitute. All right, so you may have received this. If you bought from our sponsor, Your Best Friend's Quilt Shop, then you probably received this green swirl fabric. And this one is not directional, so it's a little bit easier to work with. But either way, whether you use the original one from several years ago, or from this green swirl, the new one that's a substitute from our sponsor, either way, it's going to be 3 by 2.5. All right, 3 by 2.5 for this. That's for the pocket. All right, and then we have our batting, and our batting today is going to be 7 by 9. 7 by 9 for our batting. All right, I'm using the Kimberbell project batting. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so easy to cut and so easy to work with, and it's the right loft for it. It's not like too much, too little. It works really well. I like it. So 7 by 9 for your batting. All right, and then we are going to quilt this. So you can use any quilting design that is a 6 by 8 quilting design, any quilting design that you prefer. And this one is going to have the candy cane on it. So you could do that one that we used for the candy cane cookie. We used Christmas too. That would be super cute. Or you can use what I'm going to use. I'm going to use Hobby 5. I've used Hobby 5 on all my aprons just because it's cute and it's baking stuff. So it has, let me remind you, Hobby 5 has the flour, butter, rolling pin, measuring cup, egg, and stipple. So that's perfect for an apron, right? So any quilting design though, I'm using Hobby 5, but any quilting design that is a 6 by 8 quilting design. All right. So that's what we're going to do today. And then, like I said, I'm going to stretch. I'm going to do a little stretch exercise. So I'm going to bring you over to the computer and show you what I have in mind. And again, totally optional. You can do your quilt your way, whatever works for you. But it's always fun to stretch and learn something new. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now and I'm going to quickly show you some ideas on what you could do for a stretch exercise for apron 4. So I tried filming this a little bit ago and my stomach was growling and my dog was snoring and it just was not working for a filming day. So I took a little break, I ate a sandwich and I woke up my dog, but she's going to start again because she's very tired for some reason. So excuse that if you can hear it in the background. She hasn't started yet, but so I'm going to open up in Brilliance Essentials. So I want to show you, this is what I originally came up with in my test. So I did a little test to see how to do this. And this is what I came up with, Cristin's cookies. And I think that's just so cute. And it's really fun to try and get this arch. And so that was the point of the exercise, is working with fonts and how to get an arch if you choose. So the only thing, it would be easier. There's a couple easier and harder points to this. So this is 7 letters long. If you were to do more letters, then it would, I think, have more of an arch to it. I had to kind of work at it to get it in a way that I liked it on less letters. So that's one thing, is more letters might be easier. And what was the negative? Oh, if you use a script font, I wouldn't recommend using a script font when you're trying to get an arch like that. It's difficult because you're moving them in a way. A script font would be harder. And there was something else I wanted to remember to tell you. The other thing, here it is. So depending on the letters that you use, okay, so in cookies, you've got this little part that comes up higher, and I'll show you in baking, you've got the G that has the tail that comes down. And so that could be difficult too, trying to get it lined up right when you have some of the letters in different areas, if that makes sense. All right, so that's the first one I came up with, and I love this. I totally was going to do this, but now I'm thinking of something else, and I did write down a few ideas for you. So I'm going to go to File, New Page, and I want to point out that what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the embroidery design first. Generally, we bring in the quilting design first, but if you do that, it makes it hard to work with fonts to be able to see and get everything lined up the way that you want when there's a design behind it. So we'll just bring it in afterward and move it in place. All right, so start off by hoop size. So I'm on my 7 by 12 hoop. You can always see your hoop size right down here. And 7 by 12 works really well for this. So our design is 6.5 by 8.5. So you just have to figure out what's going to work for you. A 6 by 10 will not work because you'd have to take out that steps 3 and 4. An 8 by 12 would certainly work. I'm using a 7 by 12, so an 8 by 12 certainly would work. But either way, find the hoop size that you want by going to this preferences folder, click on the hoop size you want, and then say okay, and come to this compass button and click H for hoop so it zooms into the hoop. Okay, so we're already on that. So I'm going to bring in the first design. So I'm going to go to merge stitch file right here, and I'm going to navigate to the embroidery design. Now don't get stuck where it says apron here. This is the embroidery files. Where it says apron, that's a different project. So don't look for your apron there. It's in the quilt. So go to quilt and then go to apron 4. All right, let's see here. There's apron 5, so it must be up here. Apron 4, right there. Apron 4. Double click on that. It will go to the center. All right, and then you can see it's easy to see here. So one other thing is my grid was gone, and I don't know why it just disappeared all of a sudden. I went through all through settings, and I was like, what is happening? I couldn't figure it out, and then I went to this view menu and clicked draw grid. I don't know why it went away, but if that happens, go to your view menu. Same thing with if your properties window goes away, go to toolbars and windows, and in the view menu, make sure that everything is selected there, all right, in case any of these windows disappear or your grid disappears. That's how to get it back. Okay, so we're going to bring in a font. So if we click on this A here, it says create letters. Click on that, and it opens up this properties window that has the letters, all right? And it starts with this ABC block, all right? It's the block font, and that is native to the Embrilliance program. And that means that when you purchase Embrilliance Essentials, you receive this font. I think you get like 3 fonts, maybe even 4. I don't recall exactly how many, but you get those as part of the program. Or you can buy a font, and I've shown this on lots of tutorials. You can buy a font from wherever, preferably a BX font, because they work so well with Embrilliance. So like say that you go to Designs by Juju and you buy a font, you would download the font to your computer and then extract the file, make sure the file is extracted, and then take the BX font and just drag it over to your workspace. Just bring it over to here and it loads it for you. And then when you click on this arrow here, it shows you all the fonts that you have loaded, all right? And they stay there, and it makes it so convenient to be able to look at what you want. And like I said, it will depend on the letters that you're using. So let me go ahead and click out of here, and I'm going to click on the text to be able to change where it says ABC. I want to go here where it says text, highlight that, and then type whatever I want. I'm going to say baking and hit return. As soon as you hit return, it changes the letters over here on the side. I'm going to click my shift button. I don't really need to do it right now, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I'm going to click the shift button, which holds it, if I recall, it holds it to the center. It might be the control. I think it's shift. And then any of these corner squares, see how it is shrinking it from the center so that I don't have to move it back to the center. You can see from these black squares, the design stays in the center. And then I'm just going to bring it about where I want it. But I haven't chosen my font yet, so it will be changing. But that's how to shrink it. Like I said, use the shift button and it will shrink from the center. Whereas if you shrink it without using that shift button and the corners, it's going to change it to where it is. And then you have to move it back, get those black squares lined up in the center, all of that. So it just makes it easier once you've decided where you want your design. All right, so that is changed in size, but like I said, I haven't chosen my font yet. So I'm going to go here to this arrow and click on that. And like I said, it shows all of the fonts that I have downloaded. Now, I tried this on a bunch of different fonts trying to choose what I like. And that's the thing is I can't tell you, oh, use this font, because depending on your letters, it may look good, it may not. And of course, that's a matter of preference as well. You may decide, oh, I don't like the way that that G looks, or an S, or whatever it is. So put in what you want it to say first before you choose your font. And those native fonts that come with Embrilliance work pretty well. I mean, you can shrink those a whole lot. They're very easy to work with, and they always look really good. So you can certainly just use those. Or you can buy some fonts and then just all you do is click on them. So say that I'm just going to click this, even though it's going to be too big. So I'm going to click on this gingerbread 2-inch, and you can see it just changes that that font. Okay. So very easy to do. You just click through the ones that you want. So what I think I'm going to use, I'm just scrolling down here. I think it was Parker font that I thought was good for the letters that I've chosen. So I have to find that. Let's see here. They're kind of in alphabetical order, but like the Designs by Juju, some say DBJJ and then the name, and some say DBJJ space and then the name. And so they're not really in alphabetical order based on how they have incorporated it from the place that digitized it. All right, so here's the Parker font. I'm pretty sure that this was Planet Applique, but I'm not absolutely sure. And I'm going to use the 1/2-inch size, and you can see it just changes it right away. As soon as I choose the font, it changes it. All right, and that looks really good. I do want it up a little bit because I don't want it right on that fold. So that looks really good. I think I need to shrink it down just a little bit. I'm going to click the shift button and any of the corner blocks. And that looks pretty good. Maybe just a tiny bit to make sure that it's not on that edge there. All right, another thing you can do, I'm clicking outside so nothing is selected. You can use your mouse button to zoom in so that you can see, oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Oh yeah, that could come down a little bit. It's easier to see. That's one way of doing it with your mouse button. Or you can come up to this compass button and move this arrow to exactly where you want to see, and then zoom in from there with your mouse. Whatever works for you. All right, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to bring it down just a little bit and keep it in the center. And this isn't anywhere near done because you'll see. So the first word I'm going to use is baking. So I want to point out I have a few suggestions. And it could be anything. It could be your name and then cookies, like how I had Cristin's cookies. It could be sweets for the sweet, baking for my family, Christmas memories, or something pretty darn cool like she is courageous. So she is on the first line, and then courageous, which would be a nice big long word at the bottom. That would be a fun one. She is courageous. She is fearless. Anything, right? This is your quilt, your way, whatever you can think of. But I'm thinking baking memories. I'm going to try it. We'll see. And see, so that's what the thing is. You have to just try it out and try different fonts and just see what you like, right? All right, so that first one is done for now. I'm going to go ahead and click outside so nothing is selected. I'm going to go back to this A because it's going to be in 2 different parts. Now, keep in mind, too, that this Planet Applique, I'm pretty sure this was Planet Applique, they like to do their letters in all different colors. And so I'm going to change that so I'm not sitting there hitting start over and over on my machine. And I'll show you how to do that as well if you choose a font that is like that. All right, so it does the ABC for that second one. I'm going to bring this down here to the bottom underneath that, that arch. And I'm going to type in, I highlight the text letters, and I'm going to type memories and hit return. Okay. Now, I want to get it to do an arch, and it takes some playing around and just seeing what you like. But from here, we're on a straight line. There's also a double line, multi-line text, or there's this circle that makes it on a circle, but it will do it on a full circle. I did it on a shirt recently, or it will do like partial, depending on how you set it up. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on that. All right. And then I want it to do it on the bottom. We're going to use this radius button to determine the amount of arch, but I know I want it on the bottom because otherwise it's going to go like a rainbow. All right. So I'm going to say place on bottom, and you can see it already started to give it a little bit of an arch. Now this radius right here is what will make it so that it does it more or less. Is it highlighted? It didn't look like it was moving much. Let's see. Oh, it's straightening it. Okay, so I'm going to go further. You can do it as much as you want. You can see that it moves quite a bit. All right. And I'm going to bring it up here to the arch. And then you just literally move it around until you see how you like it. Now, when I did it on the cookies word, like I said, it wasn't as many letters. This is 3, 6, 8. So one more letter, and it's a little bit bigger, which I should probably shrink it down a little bit. We'll see. So one thing that you can do, and I did do it on the cookies, is you can also separate them. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected. Come back to the letters and see how my M and my E are very close together. You can change that. If you click on the E and just the E, so that center green square, and then if you want to click all of them so that they all move over a little bit, which I'd like to do, I'm going to go ahead and click on this bottom arrow, and then I'm just going to move it. And it's hard to see because of that yellow, but it's moving all of them over a little bit. All right. And then you click outside to be able to see it. And so see, they're not over each other quite as much now. And then I can just do it on the M, click on that, click on the center square and then the bottom square. And I'm just going to move it over a little bit. And I will have to rearrange the where they are, but right now I'm just kind of giving them a little bit more space between. And that's totally optional, up to you what you think looks good. All right, I'm going to move this R a little bit, and I'm clicking the lower arrow, which makes them all move over just a little bit, but you can do them all individually too. Either way, whatever works. All right, and then the E, that center square, and then that bottom angle, diamond, I think it's called. Let's see, triangle, it's a triangle, so an upside down triangle. All right, so I'm just moving all of these over a little bit, and then you can see that now it's not really centered. All right, so there's the center, you can always tell from the black square. So I'm just going to move this over. Make sure you've got all of it when you do that. Center. Okay. So it's interesting that it's up higher on here and not on here. So you could grab that M and the E and bring them up a little bit by yourself, or you can work on that radius. But I'm not sure if I click the radius, if it's going to change. Yeah, it goes back. So now all those little edits that I did are gone. Those are all gone. So get it where you want it first. Change this radius first, and then change the letters as far as where they are touching each other, if you didn't want them touching quite so close. All right, so just play around with it. I'm going to do this E again. It was not quite enough. So just literally play around with it. And this is, like I said, this is totally optional. You don't have to have that arch on your letters. You can personalize it with or without, but this is just a fun thing to try, and a new way of learning, like that arch. It's pretty interesting, that arch. I was surprised at, because I did a shirt recently that had an entire circle, and it was interesting. It was definitely a stretch to see how to do that. So this is just something fun to try. And don't forget, you're clicking on the letter, that green square in the middle of the letter, and then you're clicking on the lower one to be able to move all the ones past it if you choose to do that. All right, so now I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to get it back to the center. See how they're all moving? So one other thing that I could do, look at this. So see this little, this blue dot up here. I can do this and look at, then I can make it so that more of it is high. I'm basically changing the entire design to go like this a little bit. All right. So that works really well. I wonder if I make it smaller, if it's going to take away all of those changes that I just did. Let's try that. I'm going to try. So we're at 109% for this. This is bigger than I expected. I'm going to hit the, I don't think I have to hit control. I think I can do it just, let's see. Yep, so I can make it a little bit smaller, and it did not take away the changes that I made, so that's nice. But it does, I didn't do the center. If I had hit that shift button, it would have stayed in the center. I didn't do that, I forgot. All right, that looks really good. I like it. So one other thing that you can do, so I'm at 105%. That's a pretty big word. I'm actually going to make it a little bit smaller again. I'm going to hit the shift button, and I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. I think I'll put it about 94. Let's see how that looks. And then bring it down because I'm going over my pocket just a bit, which is totally fine. But if I want it lower, I can do that. My quilt my way. All right, this looks really good. Bring this, let's see. Okay. I like that. I like it. I like it. So the other thing that you can do, totally up to you. So if you click on the word, and right here it says that I'm at 95% for these words. So if I click on the first word, this baking, I'm at 88. I can choose to make it the same size. It's totally optional. You would just click on, let's see if you, well, you could, here's an idea. We could just hit shift and hold this key and then watch up in that corner and it'll tell you when it's at 95. All right, so that works too, but keep in mind you don't want to be too close to this applique piece. You don't want it to be too close. So that's one thing you have to just think about, the look that you want. I think I want that first word to be a little bit smaller. Oh gosh, that looks really good. I think I like that better than the Cristin's cookies. That looks, I like that. Baking memories, that's fun. That is cool. So think about the wording you want. Think about the sizing you want. I think I'm going to want this a little bit smaller. It's too close to that. And see, I can see the sizing right there. All right. I really like this. I think I made it a little too small. I'm going to make it a little bigger. All right. And don't forget, I'm hitting that shift button so that it stays in the center. I really like that. I really like it a lot. I'm going to zoom in to see it. Yep, that looks really good. Okay, so that's great. I really like that. So once you get it all done, however you want it to do. So one thing also is I'm going to change the colors of these because right now it's going to stop at every single letter and change it. And there's a couple of positives to that. So one, the negative obviously is that you're going to have to hit the button over and over to make it start stitching again. But the positive is you will not have any jump stitches. Isn't that nice? When you change the color on each letter, it's going to stop and then you'll go over to the next letter and start on the next letter once you hit the green go button. So that is a nice way to not get any jump stitches. I will say that, but I'm going to change them. I don't want to hit for it to go over and over and over again. So I'm going to click on this. I clicked on the color tab, and this first one is this light blue. I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to choose. I wonder if I can, I don't think I can do all of them at once. I'm going to click on the palettes button, and I'm going to click on that light blue and say, okay, and I'm just going to do it on all of these so that it will stitch these all at once. And you can see over on the left, it is changing those as I go. I remember I tried it once before to get all of them and it didn't do it. I'll try it on the next set to see, but I don't think it does. All right, so there's baking. I just changed it so that it will do all of those letters all together. And then I'm going to click on this lower one, memories, and I've got this fresh green. Don't forget, if you're in palettes, then it's easy to tell the colors that were already there. So, oh yeah, it doesn't let me do it. Let's see if I click. No, I can't. Nope, it doesn't let me click all of them. If you know, oh, maybe if I click control. Nope. Nope. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on each one. So fresh green is that first color, so I'm just going to change them to say fresh green. Oops, I lost it. It's going very fast. Fresh green right there. All right, and one more at fresh green. Okay. All right, so now those are all the same. Oops, say cancel. All right, so then it will tie. So you could do even, you could make those all blue, by the way, so it just stitches them all at once. In fact, I think I'll do that so that I'm not making it stop. So I go back to click on the design, and then I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to change it to that light blue and say, okay. All right, so then it's just going to stitch all of those colors all at once. Easy peasy. Now, don't forget, we got to bring in our quilting design. So I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to go to my quilting files. I'm using, what was it, Hobby 5, Embroidery Files, Block by Block, Pez, and we want a 6x8 quilting design. Whatever 6x8 quilting design you choose. Now, this is very important. We have our apron, we have our personalization, and then we have our quilting. You don't want the quilting on the top of all this. We want it to be the very first thing underneath the apron. So we have to right click on it and say move first. All right, so then it changes the order. So we have our quilting design, our apron design, and then our personalization. All right, so I really like that. I think that's really cute. That is fun, fun, fun. Let's make sure that this is centered. Yep, it is. That looks really good. So that's fun. So like I said, lots of different things that you can personalize it if you choose. Lots of different, it could be something very personal, very fun. Either way, whatever works for you. So I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I'm just going to go to this hoop button, and I'm going to do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to name this 7x12 apron 5 baking. All right, name it whatever you want to be able to find it easily. I'm going to send this to my machine, utility send to Solaris XP1. And it is sent to my machine. If you don't have that option, you would just send it to a USB stick, bring your USB stick over to your machine. So I can't wait to see if you personalize yours and what you're going to have it. Don't forget, we're on like this very light fabric, so you can have something stand out, something personal. That will be really fun. I can't wait to see yours. And how are you doing with your goal? So my goal for this project, for the end part of the project, I started with a different goal, but I've changed it. So I'm working on strength. So I'm working on building strength, working on getting exercise, movement. After my surgery, I wasn't able to do anything for a long time. And so I'm trying to rebuild some strength. So the only negative is last night, we had a pretty full day. I worked really hard on our previous tutorial, and then my husband and I went to go see a movie, really good. Lily is shaking, sorry, she's itching. So anyway, we went and saw Unsung Heroes. It was really good, but we got home late enough that I had to still get my workout. I hadn't done my workout. So I did my workout. I did a really good, really enjoyed it. I got on my Nordic Track bicycle and got a great workout with trainer Hannah Edens. We were riding in Colorado and climbing and keeping our heart rate up and working on reps per minute, the revolutions where you're spinning around in your bicycle. Did all the things, got a great workout, was sweating a ton, but I didn't finish until like 10:40 last night, and that's too late. And so what I learned is I need to work out earlier because I was up all night. I was up, oh boy, I went to bed at 12:30, went and walked around my house at 2:30 trying to get my body to fall asleep. Then again at 4:30, and at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock, finally went to sleep. So that's ridiculous. Like, that's always, it's funny because me being misproductive and trying to use up all of my time, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I laid in bed for 6 hours. I could have been working on this and that and doing this and that. And so I have to get better about that. My body on this cancer blocker pill, and it just does not want to sleep. And if I do anything to make that not work, especially working out late at night or getting in my head about stuff, it's just not good. Let me tell you, it's just not good. So I did not do good on that part, but I got my workout in at least, and hopefully I'll sleep better tonight. Learned lesson. So that's why we go through these things, right? To learn from them. So what did you do on your goal? Did you get some sleep last night? I sure hope so. And my shirt today is a really cute gnome. It's a breast cancer gnome, and I added the word survivor and I made it at an angle. I thought that was pretty fun. The design, I think it's like called Tiny Dreams or something from Etsy. I could be wrong about that. I will add a link underneath this video though. The shirt is one of my favorites. I really like this one. It's got a little hood, but it's a shirt. It's not a sweater. It's thin, and it's perfect for this spring weather where it's windy and so it's cold, but it's not hot and it's not really cold. So it's perfect for, a little layer, not too much. I will add a link to my Amazon storefront here. There's all kinds of shirts. There's a whole tab of just shirts and things to embellish on to embroider on, I should say, that I highly recommend. And I really love this one. It's a good one, comes in several different colors. And so I will add that link. I'll also add the information of where I got the design underneath this video in the video notes down toward the bottom. All right.